Welcome to the Adulting Project podcast. As usual, this episode may contain strong language and adult themes throughout, so please do not listen with young ears around.
Welcome to another episode of the Adulting Podcast. As usual, we have myself, Scott.
And me, Jamie.
Today we're going to talk about something quite topical, the fuel crisis. Well, more to the point, the fuel crisis that never was. So let's get right into it at the beginning.
Right, the facts. So, an oil firm, BP, warned that they would have to temporarily close a handful of petrol stations because of a lack of lorry drivers.
Okay, this resulted in long queues starting to build up outside stations across Great Britain over the weekend amid fears that petrol might run out.
Urban areas have been hit the hardest, while Northern Ireland has been unaffected. A YouGov poll recently revealed that roughly 47% of people believe that the recent fuel shortages have been caused by the media.
Yep, I can agree with that. PRA, which represents nearly 5,500 of the UK's 8,000 filling stations, says that trying to calm this down appears to be a monumental task at the moment. It says more than a quarter, 27% of its members' petrol stations were out of fuel on Thursday compared to 2/3 on Sunday.
The Military of Defence is preparing, well, I think they already have actually, 150 qualified military drivers to deliver fuel and has another 150 personnel ready to support them.
That actually went up to 200 when they actually deployed the military personnel.
200?
Yep. The Department for Business, Energy and Industry Strategy, BEIS, says it will also draw on some of the reserve fleet of 80 tankers which the government keeps for emergencies.
An offer of temporary visas to 5,000 foreign fuel tanker and food lorry drivers, as well as 5,500 poultry workers in the run-up to Christmas. Although some business organisations such as the British Chambers of Commerce have criticised this as insufficient.
The process for getting an HGV driver licence will speed up, and nearly 1 million letters have been sent out to existing HGV drivers to encourage them back into the industry. Plus there are plans to train 4,000 others. I myself have had my HGV licence letter encouraging me back, and from what it says, if I wasn't already doing the job, I wouldn't fucking come back.
I had mine as well. It went straight into my filing cabinet, more commonly known as the bin. The key issue here is there aren't enough drivers to supply the petrol.
There's an estimated shortage of more than 100,000 HGV drivers, and petrol is only the latest industry to be hit.
So that's the facts. That's the facts that we've got off of BBC News, Sky News, everywhere, and these are what we've got. So the main points of this. Who do you think's to blame?
The media for sure, because there was no mention of a fuel shortage in the original statement from BP. It was a handful of garages may have to close. No mention of fuel shortage.
Yeah, but going back to even the U poll, the actual survey that was sent out, they literally named it as recent fuel shortages. I mean, there was no shortage of fuel. There was a shortage of delivery drivers to deliver the fuel.
Yep.
So even that survey was
misled and misleading. There was a shortage of brains in the UK as well, as idiots flooded the petrol stations to get fuel that they didn't need.
I mean, it's absolutely craziness. It proves to you that we are a nation of sheep. Well, not sheep, we believe too easily. We don't like to do our own research. That's a lot of hard work. What do you mean? We've got to actually go and find out shit? That's what the news stations are for.
Yep, giving us the facts, and then us taking those facts and going, right, do I need to panic? No, but oh fuck, Joe Bloggs down the road has gone and bought 45 litres of petrol in cans that he doesn't need. Fuck me, I better go as well, just in case I run out with my full tank.
Bah. It is absolutely... I thought it couldn't last more than a few days. You know, I thought the idiots would turn up straight away, block the petrol stations for a few days, and then it'd be fine. That's what I thought. But what actually seemed to happen is those idiots would get down to maybe an eighth. They've used an eighth, they go refuel. Use an eighth, go, and it was just prolonged. And then Shell, they put in 35 quid maximum fill up. But what you're doing there is you're just pushing the other half of the stuff onto somebody else because they're going to want to fill up.
Yeah. The thing is, people were going out. The prime example was, I think it was the BBC sent one of their reporters out. And
Phil McCann. That's who it was.
Yeah, what a fucking name. And he was stood at the side of the road talking to people queuing up to get fuel. He went to one woman and he said, "Why do you need fuel?" "Oh, I don't. I work from home. I've got 3/4 of a tank, but I saw everybody else was doing it, so I thought I'd better go." This is what I mean. People are sheep. You know, they don't think logically. They put lives at risk. NHS, fire brigade, police services. I went into Tesco's. The shelves were almost bare because not only the shortage of lorry drivers, but struggling to get fuel. They can't get the shit out. And when people are fucking panic buying the fuel and they're not getting the shit they want, who do they blame? The lorry drivers.
It's not just that. I saw petrol stations refusing lorry drivers to fill up because they took so much fuel.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's let's face it, emergency services, they need fuel. The military, they need fuel.
Yeah.
And fucking lorry drivers need fuel or you're not getting anything.
I live in Hayes. 4 fuel stations within a mile of me had no fuel constantly for about a fortnight. Every time I went there, the queue was so long that I couldn't get any fuel because I didn't want to queue up, and they were out by the time I got home. I'm a lorry driver myself. I travel 40 miles to work every day. It's an 80-mile round trip. I was running on fumes by the end of the week because I couldn't get any fuel because of idiots that didn't need it.
But do you think the government should have done more?
Yes and no. Their hands are tied without putting too many people out there, because as soon as they started talking about military, there was all the conspiracy theorists going, the government are putting us under military law. You know?
Yeah.
And as soon as you start doing that, people start to panic even more. They did it during COVID, if you remember.
Yeah.
They mobilised the military to go to the quarantine hotels if they were needed.
Yeah.
They weren't deployed, but it was all over social media. They're putting us under military law.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely stupid. And do you think it's right for people to panic? Do you think do we blame the people?
Yes, I do, because there was no need to panic. Right? Had everybody just gone around their normal day-to-day lives, there would have been enough fuel for everybody. You had idiots pouring water out of 2-litre water bottles that they just bought from somewhere else on the forecourt, putting petrol in it. And the most sensible people of us know that as soon as you put petrol in that water container, that is going to dissolve the plastic. You're going to have one hell of a fucking puddle in petrol in your car. You know, stupidity. Utter stupidity.
There was no need. I mean, for me personally, I don't think I can blame the people, because naturally people are idiots.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Look at COVID lockdown. What was the first thing they bought? Fuck me. We're going to go and buy all the toilet paper we can. Because after we've been to the toilet, there's no such thing as a bath if we haven't got toilet paper.
All the pasta, all the flour, all the main little tins gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you've never seen Sandra from down the road buying fucking boiled potato in a tin before. But just in case we don't get any more food. It's not the apocalypse, people. We still had to work, for Christ's sake. You know?
I worked through the lockdown. I was one of the lucky lorry drivers that never actually contracted COVID, thank God. But I worked through it, I survived, I got everything I needed. Yes, I had to go around and look for it, but I didn't panic buy. I went out and I bought what I needed when I needed it. I didn't go and strip it, so the more needy couldn't have it.
Exactly. I mean, driver's shortage, that's what it comes down to. There is a driver's shortage. There's a lack of people wanting to drive. Be it because some of the fucking foreigners have gone home because of Brexit, be it because they wanted to go home because they haven't seen their family in over a year because of COVID. Whatever the reason is, we've now got a shortage of drivers.
We've always had a shortage of drivers. Even when we had Eastern Europeans over here working, there was always a shortage of drivers. and there always will be a shortage of drivers because the industry is not attractive enough for people to come into. Think about it. When you go to work,
Yep.
can you accumulate £1,500 in fines in that day?
I wouldn't earn that.
No, neither does a lorry driver. But can you get stopped and accumulate 1,500? No, a lorry driver can. Okay, albeit his own fault for not doing what he should do.
We all have bad days.
We all have bad days, like the gator. But a lorry driver doesn't earn £1,500 a week, and to be penalised and accumulate £1,500 in fines, who wants to do that? You go to work to earn money, not to lose it. Personally, as a lorry driver, I've been stopped by Vossa. I've got nothing against them. They're doing a job. They're keeping dangerous trucks off the road. I've been stopped by Vossa. I've been fined £100 by Vossa, and I've been parked up.
Wow.
Alright. The day I got fined £100 wasn't really my fault.
Yeah.
I'd gone to retrieve a lorry that somebody else had taken out.
Yeah.
They hadn't done their vehicle checks properly. I'd done what I needed to do to get it back to the truck, but the guy was just, I was there. I was getting it. End of story. So I got £100 fine. I earned £40 that day.
Yeah.
You go to work every day and get stopped by Vossa and fined £100. You're earning
Can't make a living.
day. You ain't making a living.
There's no way to make it. I understand. The other thing I look at is when people are working, let's say in a factory, they need, by law, a place to go to the toilet.
Yep.
A decent, clean, sanitary place. They need a place to have their breaks in that are clean, sanitary, a place to cook their food. There's all these laws for people that sit in one place. Now you've got the nomadic workers like yourself that you drive everywhere. You stop at some service stations, you wouldn't put your worst enemy in that toilet.
No, I've been to some really, really right old places. I've tramped, I've done day work, I've done nights out, you name it, I've pretty much done it. I will stay in a services overnight if I have to, because it's a safe place to park. I can get a shower. The showers are not the cleanest by all means. They are absolutely. I can tell you some horror stories.
Yeah, I bet.
I can tell you. Didn't happen to me, but I know somebody that went into a shower and some dirty git had curled one up in the shower. Right. So you think what we've got to face, I've gone in a shower where it's been freezing cold water, but I've suffered that freezing cold water because I want to be clean.
And you get paid what was it, 30, 35 quid, 40 quid to stay out?
I get £30 for a night out, which in all fairness ain't a bad rate, but if you think about it, I've been doing this job for 20 years, and when I first was doing nights out, I was getting £25 a night.
But you think about what you're suffering. You're not going home to your bed. You're not having a clean bathroom like you would at your house.
Yeah.
You don't have access to a toilet without walking. Let's face it, some of these lorry parks are at the other end of the earth compared to where the toilets are. If you got a bit of deli belly, you're making a Usain Bolt sprint to that bloody toilet. And realistically, the food.
The food is absolutely.
Here, have McDonald's. Here, have McDonald's. Here, have KFC, Burger King. You don't want that.
No, gone are the days.
You're already fat fucking lorry drivers. You got that stigma, but you're not helping, are we?
No, gone are the days when you had a food hall and it was like a canteen. You went in, you had a selection. You had pie, you had sausage, you had fish, you had mash, you had vegetables.
Yeah.
Now it's all about get them in, feed them shit, get them out, charge them the fucking maximum price you can. To park up, it is on average £30 a night. Right?
Wow.
But you get a £10 meal voucher.
Woo!
And with that £10 meal voucher, you can get a McDonald's.
Yeah.
Right? But you can't get a large McDonald's, because if you get a large McDonald's, that then takes you up to the £6 mark, and they keep the other £4.
Fucking
Right?
Jesus.
You can't even get a Burger King because you have to add more money to the Burger King, because Burger King notoriously
ridiculously expensive. Only for kings.
Yeah, absolutely, only for kings. And anybody who wants to eat Burger King every night of the week, or McDonald's every night of the week, you got to be something wrong with it.
Don't get me wrong, I think there are decent services. I mean, Beaconsfield services, it's quite a nice services.
It is a nice services, but again...
I mean, for Jesus, it's got Weatherspoons.
Yeah, but the facilities, the toilets, you go in there, the toilets are minging, they stink. Right, you go into the showers, right, you have a cubicle, right, And that is it.
It's not much bigger than the ones you get in the swimming pools when you used to change as a kid, are they?
No, and there's no dry room. You go onto the continent, you go to Germany, France, Spain, Belgium. You go into the showers, you have a dry room, you walk through to the next door, is your shower.
Yeah. Yep.
You put your tokens in, you get 20 minutes piping hot water, you dry off in that area, you come out, you're in the dry room where you get dressed.
Yeah.
You walk out, somebody goes in, they scrub it down, clean it, it is spotless for the next person. I know in France some of them are a little bit hit and miss, but the majority of them are excellent.
Unlike the UK where it's the opposite.
Yeah, and as a lorry driver in Europe, you get to park next to the main building, not 4 miles away, and you have to trek.
Yeah.
Right? Over here, they're not geared up for lorry drivers. Over here, lorry drivers are just shit job, shit person, crack on with it.
And then they wonder why no one wants to do it.
Then they wonder why no one wants to do it.
I mean, back before this all started, I mean, quite recently we've had, is it Waitrose was 67? Was it? Was that the max or 57?
57 grand a year.
We've got Eddie Stobart that's raised their basic up.
Yeah, Eddie Stobart, notoriously the worst paid drivers in lorry drivers. Minimum wage for trampers. Now offering their drivers at a starting rate of 46 grand a year.
So they're starting to do something, which is a good sign, let's face it, but are they going to carry it on? There's got to be more than 2 years before we can say they're going to keep it.
If you're going into a full-time contract, it will carry on. If you're jumping ship to earn 34, £40 an hour through an agency, it's going to be a period of time. It won't last.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
They're doing it at the minute
because they need to.
The panic because they need to.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a mate that works for Waitrose in Milton Keynes, and he knows I've got 11 days holiday.
Yeah.
He's told me he can get me into Waitrose for those 11 days at £40 an hour.
It's crazy.
You know, I don't want to go and do that. If I'm having 11 days off, I want to veg out, have a few beers, and not do fuck all.
Do you know what I want to do on my holiday? Work. Said nobody ever.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Back in the day, I would have done it, but I'm a little bit older now. I don't have to work my nuts off. I'm not so work orientated. But back in the day, I would have done it when I had kids and they were younger. But now, you know, if somebody else wants to go and do it, fair play to them, let them earn the money. I'm not that bothered.
How can it be resolved? In your eyes, how can we get 100,000 people into this industry?
You ain't ever going to get 100,000 people in the industry, but you need to make it more attractive. You need to make it so lorry drivers are paid what they're worth. They're treated like human beings at their point of destination. I've been to places and I've been refused to use the toilet.
Fucking Jesus.
You know, one point I went out and I pissed up against the side of the lorry in the car park. When the general manager came out and went to me, "What are you doing?" I went, "You won't let me use the toilet. What the fuck do you want me to do?"
Yeah.
You know, you need to stop penalising the lorry drivers so much. Yes, they have a job to do. Yes, they have checks to do, and it is their responsibility in making sure that that vehicle is roadworthy. But you need to put a bit more onus on the company, because a lot of companies will just go, "Do you know what? The drivers put that defect in, we'll keep pushing it back, we'll keep pushing it back, we'll keep pushing
Especially
it back."
Especially the little fucking firms.
Yeah, because it's all money, it's costing them money,
exactly,
which they can't afford. You need better facilities for them. You know, 20 years ago I started driving, I was one of the top paid drivers at 26 grand a year.
Yeah.
And if you look at jobs now for lorry drivers, yes, the money has gone up in some places, but there's still companies out there advertising between 26 and 30 grand a year.
Yeah.
So it hasn't gone up that much in 20 years.
Not in comparison to inflation, you know what I mean?
No, like I said, lorry drivers, we are treated as scum. When COVID was on, we were key workers.
Yeah.
As soon as COVID finished, we were done again.
Yeah.
We were back to, do you know what?
Fuck
Get them off the road.
Yeah.
Right.
So, they're slowing me down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but where's my toilet roll that I just bought 20 piles off because fucking it is ridiculous. And I mean, the government have turned around and said that they're basically giving 9,000 drivers. Is that enough to cover the £100,000 100,000 people deficit when they're saying we're going to get 9,000 people in, to work.
No, and I very much doubt they will get 9,000 people in, because if you look at last year, they had lorry drivers from Eastern Europe parked up in Kent because they couldn't go home for Christmas. They had no proper facilities. They were stuck on a runway with fuck all. Why would you want to do that, knowing that you are now working in Europe, closer to your home country, knowing that come Christmas
you can get home.
Go home and see your family.
You can get home.
You want to do it. There is no benefits for them to come.
And they're literally they're working up until Christmas, and that's when their visa ends.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to give a fuck after you then, are they?
Christmas Eve. Oh yes, come into our country and bail us out of the shit until Christmas Eve, and then fuck off.
Yeah.
What sort of incentive is that? There is none. You know, and to get younger people in, they're not going to do it. Yes, they're making the driving test easier, but that is not a solution.
It's not safe.
It is not safe. They're now saying that the reversing manoeuvre that I had to do as part of my test will be gauged on how I do, or how the driver does when he's learning. So if his instructor says to the examiner on test day, do you know what, he's alright reversing, he's passed the reversing manoeuvre, he doesn't have to do it. And I can see 100 pitfalls where you're going to have people trying to reverse an Arctic onto a loading bay in a busy yard, and they can have a fucking...
It's half the job.
It's 90% of your time going backwards.
Yeah.
You know, you drag it forwards for miles, and then you're rammed into a tiny little yard between trucks, and you've got to reverse it on there. You can't do it. There's no point doing the job.
It's fucking crazy. I mean, it's just absolute mind-boggling. But I mean, you mentioned earlier fuel the conspiracies around, but have you heard any more other than
the government are coming in to put us under martial law? I heard the conspiracy that this was all made up because they wanted to sell the excess fuel that they didn't sell last year during COVID, and rush the E10 fuel in.
Because of the expiry date. Yeah.
RAC, if you have a look at the RAC website, they say petrol has a 6-month shelf life stored under optimum conditions. I would like to shed a little bit of doubt on that, because I have 2 motorbikes that have been parked up in non-optical conditions, or optimum conditions even, with full tanks of petrol, and both bikes starting up and run. No misfires, no hiccups, no fuck all. They run sweetly. Didn't smell bad, and they run perfectly. So I would like to shed a little bit of doubt on the 6-month theory.
I would like to know where their definition of going off is, because I mean, scientifically, the fuel that you're exploding is the octanes, right?
Yep.
So you've got, most fuels are what now, 97, 98 octane fuel.
Yep.
What is there cut off 1 octane less? Is over 6 months it goes down to 1 octane, that's it, it's fucked?
They don't do too specific into it.
No, that's what I'd like to know.
All they say is it degrades over 6 months. So degradation...
Your car still run on probably 90.
Yeah.
You know.
Degradation is, when it gets to a point where it is no longer viable, that it will not fire the engine.
But the other thing, quite recently, is they fucking changed the fuel.
Yeah.
That fuel's no longer being able to sell. You've got to have this E10 petrol.
Yeah.
So where's the conspiracy now? Oh, they're trying to get rid of all of this petrol.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the same.
No, it's just one of those whole conspiracy theories, isn't it, where they're just throwing it out there. People aren't actually thinking. They're just sheep.
Yeah.
They see something on social media. Joe Bloggs said.
Yeah.
Matey down the pub said.
RAC is quite a fucking, you would expect more from something that big.
But they haven't been specific, have they? They've just said it degrades.
And what have they done? They've created attention to them.
So
they would have profited out of that.
Yeah, of course, because their...
Money follows attention.
Yeah, their membership's going to go up.
Exactly.
Oh my God, what if I've got this fuel and it degrades and my car won't start like an idiot?
Exactly. Yeah. They've gone up fucking hunky-dory. Right, let's have a bit of a curveball here. I know we're doing the petrol crisis that never was, but in the middle of this petrol crisis that never was, there was, what should we say, some, let's say, idiots.
A lot of idiots.
Yeah, that for some odd reason like to sit down in places they shouldn't. And I think you know exactly what I'm on about. Insulate Britain.
Insulate Britain. Are we talking about the same bunch of motherfuckers that fucked up Junction 30 of the M25 two weeks ago and fucked my day up completely, glued themselves to the roundabout?
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong though. I'm going to start this out with a caveat here. I respect what they're trying to do. I respect what, if done correctly, I respect what they're trying to do, and I respect that they're trying to protest to get people to have their houses insulated so it costs them less money, especially the older generation that can't afford their fuel bills and stuff like that. I respect it. What I don't respect is being sat in the middle of London with my diesel engine running because they've decided to sit down in the middle of a road. We tweeted about this the other day. They were sat on the old Kent Road, and they were sat down, and that place doesn't move to begin with. So I mean, they chose the wrong place to begin with. I was just sat there for hours, and what are you gaining out of this other than pissing the people off that you need to support you?
You are gaining absolutely nothing. Like you said, you're just pissing the people off that you want the support from. They did exactly the same, like I said 2 weeks ago. Junction 30, M25, A13 junction.
Yep.
I was coming out of Stamford La Hope.
Yep.
I had to divert all the way up into London to join the M11 to get back to my depot because they glued themselves to the roundabout. Ridiculous. And I couldn't go around the M25. Right? They've caused mayhem. I think one of their policies is we move for blue lights. Then why last week were they being dragged out the way?
That poor woman.
By people that were trying to get the ambulance through, and every time somebody dragged one of them out of the way, somebody took his place.
That woman screaming at him, "My mum's in the ambulance, please move out the way," and I was like, "No."
Yeah.
I mean, how you're not gaining momentum, and here's the problem: if you've got an issue you want sorting, and you turn around, we've seen this countless times before, and you turn around, you gain the hearts and souls and minds of people. Do you think the government would have the bollocks to create new legislation to allow police to remove you?
No,
they wouldn't, would they? Because they have.
It's going to be too much grief because you're going to have everybody going, they're not doing anything wrong.
And they need to be re-elected.
Yeah.
So they're not going to do shit that we don't want them to do, let's face it. Because if we've got Black Lives Matter, did you see any coppers hoiking people out of the way? No, because they've got the hearts and minds and souls of people. Yeah. Do you see...
they did it the wrong way, but they didn't cause chaos on the streets.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was... what's the other one called? The Extinction Rebellion. They're a pain in my arse, but they don't do it that often.
And when they do it in places that is causing problems for the government and nobody else.
I mean, I've caught me once or twice, but oh well, shit happens. But this has been going on for weeks.
Yeah.
It's not costing businesses time and money. I didn't get to see my kids for 3 days because they had me stuck in London.
That's right.
And it's nobody else's fault. And do you think I'm now going to go sign a petition saying, yeah, I totally fucking agree with you. Thanks for making me not see my kids for 3 days.
Of course you're not. You're more than likely giving them a swift kick up the arse and telling them to get the fuck out of your way because they're holding you up.
Stop gluing yourself down, you pricks.
Yeah. So the biggest joke is one of the main organisers caught himself out on national TV by going, yes, I've got no insulation in my house, but this is what I'm fighting for. And how can you fight for something that you actually don't have yourself? That's like me.
Maybe he's trying to get it for free.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he was down the pubs and gone, here lads, look at what I'm going to do. Fuck up London, I'm going to get my house insulated.
Yeah, quite possibly, you never know.
But the other thing that fucks me off is these old people. They're sat there, these old people. Now, I know Doris ain't got a lot to do with her time now she's retired. Stay the fuck out my way. Yeah. Go, there's that, what's the square called outside of Westminster?
Oh, Parliament Square.
Yeah, that one, where you got loads of people standing there going, whatever their fucking cause is, fair play on them.
Doris, go to Parliament Square, take your laptop, get a hotspot, look at some OAP porn.
Yeah, go fucking cheer yourself up a bit, do something a bit fucking eager.
Yeah.
But it is... They're not going to win. He was on Good Morning Britain with Susanna Reid, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he was basically just dismissed straight out the bat because he's doing it wrong. Now, if you yeah, they have got the attention of the media. They are being reported on. It's all over social media. You're doing it right in that area, wrongly.
Yeah. But it's that old adage, isn't it? Any publicity is good publicity.
But not in this case, I don't think.
No, because I think the last video I saw, and fair play to him, motorcyclist rode through the crowd, kicked the guy square in the head. You know, he's in the way, he ain't moving, he's pissed people off, you know.
Wouldn't we all though? I mean,
wouldn't we all?
Like I said, 3 days without seeing my kids because they wanted to sit in the middle of a road to say that they're insulating. I understand, like I say, insulate old people's houses because they can't afford to pay their heating bill. They would rather freeze to death. Well, no, they wouldn't rather. They literally
But
can't afford.
they're gonna freeze.
So what they're saying, I agree with.
Yeah.
Fair play, lads. Let's get that pushed through. But now these old people that really do need this to get through will not get it through because some knobhead has thought to himself, we're going to do it this way and cause mayhem.
Yeah.
Mayhem doesn't change anything.
And aren't they a breakaway group from the original ones?
Extinction Rebellion?
Extinction
Probably.
Rebellion, yeah. And what are they doing? Making the problem that Extinction Rebellion are trying to fight even worse because they're blocking up the road.
And we're sat there with our diesel engines. I mean, it was hot one day. I had my air conditioning on. I ain't turning that engine off.
No, why would you? Why would you? You're not going to sit and bake in a van.
They're already causing me to sit here for longer. I'm not going to sit here for longer, more uncomfortable.
No, of course you're not.
You're
going to chill, baby.
Oh, it's just... I really wish that someone would kick that bloke that's currently in charge out and sit down, go onto the news and say, look, he's gone, I'm in, here's what we believe. This is why we're here, and actually get their message out because it is a valid point.
It is a valid point. I do agree with what they're doing, but again, like you said...
Get the fuck out my way.
They're doing it in the wrong way. Go somewhere. Trafalgar Square, Hyde Park, Parliament Square, have 3 massive protests going on at once where you're not causing any problem. Get people to sign the petition, get people's backs, you know, get the hearts and minds of people. Don't fuck them off.
I mean, like Black Lives Matter, for instance, perfect. They got fucking thousands of people. Because it's a worthwhile cause. Everyone turned up and they marched towards Parliament peacefully. It was already announced. We're going to be here this day. We're going to be marching in that direction. Make alternative routes.
I don't agree with what they did, pulling down the statues. A lot of them didn't do their history.
No.
And didn't look into it. And defacing statues throughout, you know, is a big no-no, regardless of...
There's always going to be one rotten apple in the bunch in there.
And history, as they say, if you don't teach it, it repeats itself.
100%. 100%. And I totally agree, but people get... It's emotions.
It is emotions,
People with emotions, and then other people that are on the right path
feed off of that emotion,
and they start getting the adrenaline, and then it's like, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make my point by doing this, and then that emotion clouds that judgment of, you know what? That's probably not fucking the best thing to do. But in the next morning, they're probably sat there going, yeah, you're right. It wasn't the best thing to do. I shouldn't have done that.
But it's done.
Yeah.
Can't turn it back.
You can't, no.
You know.
And you're fucked. You're sat in a prison cell going, oh, here we fucking go.
Yeah, here we go. But yeah, like I said, Black Lives Matter, good cause, did it the right way, planned it, let everybody know what was going on. Please find an alternative route because we are marching on this route.
And look what happened. It gained momentum. It's still gaining momentum. Things are changing for the better because they've done it the right way.
They did it, and it's all about doing things the right way.
What's happening with Insulated Britain? They're just getting fucked off.
Yeah, they're getting fucked off. They've got an injunction
off
against
your pub.
They're getting arrested.
They're
getting taken to court. They're going to do time.
But they're damaging other people's right to protest.
And that's exactly it. There will be a law that says there is no peaceful protest. We will be going into...
The line's so fucking blurred. It'd be such a grey area that I'm sat here, you know, not blocking anyone off, But if someone wants to walk in the general direction of me, is that classed as I'm causing a disruption?
Yeah. And
Can I be arrested for that?
It will be into a communist state where you will be afraid.
All because of one person again.
Look at Tiananmen Square in China. What did they do? Communist state, not allowed to protest.
Fuck off.
Drove the tank over the bloke, didn't give a fuck.
They didn't give a fuck. That's for another episode. Right, I think we've had enough bitching and moaning for today. Contact us on all of our social medias. Can you remember, Scott, what our social media tags are?
No.
No, it's at Adulting Pro Pod, and that's on Facebook and Twitter. Email us at adultingprojectpodcast@gmail.com, and also ring us on, do you know the number yet? No, I better find it out again because neither do I. So the number is 07908657313. Send us all your stories, your weird and wonderful facts. Send us ideas of anything you want us to talk about. And we'll catch you next time. It's been me, Jamie.
And me, Scott.
And we'll see you next time on the Adulting Project Podcast. Ta-ra!
Ta-ra!